Hello students, today we will revise the chapter number 4, sorting materials into groups. And in this chapter we will see that how all the objects are made with materials and all these materials based on the differences or similarities among them can be sorted, means separated into groups. Okay, so let's get started. The things which we can see around us like a chair, a bullock cart, etc. are known as objects, and all these objects, they have different color, shape and uses. Like some of the objects you can see they are round in shape like a football or rubber ball, and others are nearly round like apples and oranges. Some are edible, means we can eat them, and some of them like apples and oranges, they can be grouped as both round in shape as well as edible. Other than this, you can see that some objects are made with plastics and others can be made with wood or cotton, etc. So the matter an object is made of, or we can say that whatever an object is made of is called material. There can be different types of materials like plastic, wood, steel, glass. So let's understand object and materials in more details. Okay, so collect as many objects as possible around you. So make a table like 4.1 where in first column objects are given. So you have to list all the objects, and in the second column you have to write the materials they are made of. They can be made with the paper, the wood, the steel, glass, plastic, etc. You have to identify the materials what they are made of. And in the second activity like this table 4.2, you have to make another table in which in first column you have to write the materials, and in second column you have to write the objects made with these materials. So you will find that objects around us, they are made of different materials. At times an object is made of a single material. At the same time objects can be made of many materials. Like a plate can be made with steel, glass or plastic. So there are many materials by which a plate can be made. And then again one material could be used for making many objects. Like wood can be used to make a chair, a table, a plow. So here the material is wood and we can make different objects from this material. So now question is that what decides which material should be used to make an object? A piece of cloth cannot be used to make a tumbler. A tumbler is a container which can be used to store water. So for a tumbler, it is to be made either with a plastic, metal or other such material that will hold water. Similarly, we cannot use a paper for making cooking vessels. It means we have to choose the materials to make an object depending upon its properties and the purpose for which we want that object to be made. So let's talk about some of the properties of materials. Number one is appearance. For this we will collect some of the materials like paper, cardboard, wood, copper wire, aluminium sheet, chalk, etc. Now we have to notice that if the surface of that material having luster, means shine, or not. For this, either we can rub the surface of the material with sandpaper or we can cut that material into two pieces. Now if that material is having luster, that material is known as lustrous material, and the materials which will not have shine or luster, they will known as non-lustrous materials. Usually metals are lustrous like iron, copper, aluminium, gold, but they also lose their shine and appear dull because when they are exposed to air and moisture, they get oxidized. Therefore, we notice the luster only on their freshly cut surfaces. Next property is hardness. The materials which can be compressed or scratched easily, they are known as soft materials, while some other materials which are difficult to compress and scratch, they are known as hard materials. Cotton and sponge is soft while iron is hard. Now let's talk about the next property, that is solubility. For this we have to collect some of the solid substances like sugar, salt, chalk powder, etc. and we will try to mix them with water. So some substances out of these, they will get disappeared or dissolved in water completely. They are known as soluble substances. And the substances which will not get mixed with water or they will not completely disappear or dissolve in water, they are known as insoluble substances. Till now we have talked about the solubility of solid substances. Now we will see, do liquids also dissolve in water or not? For this we have to collect some samples of vinegar, lemon juice, mustard oil, etc. and we will try to mix these liquids with water. We will see that some liquids get completely mixed with water and others do not mix with water, and they form a separate layer when kept aside for some time. Like oils, they will form a layer on the surface of the water, but vinegar, lemon juice, they will get mixed with water. As we have seen that solids and liquids, they can be soluble or insoluble. Similarly, gases can be also soluble or insoluble. For example, you must have heard that oxygen gas dissolved in water is very important for the survival of animals and plants that live in water, because they use that dissolved oxygen for their respiration purpose. Now, if you have observed that in activity 4, the insoluble solids like soil or chalk powder, they separated out from the water and they are deposited on the bottom. And in activity 5, some of the liquid materials, they do not mix with water, they are present on the surface of the water. So in activity 4, the materials, they get settled on the bottom, and in activity 5, the liquid material, it is present on the surface of the water. One has sunk in the water and other is floating on the water. Like dried leaves fallen on the surface of a pond, it will float. A stone that you will throw into the pond sunk. So let's understand what is the principle behind the floating or sinking of any object. If any object is having higher density than water, sunk, and if any object is having lesser density than water, it will float. You can also test these materials in other liquids like oil if they float or sink. Now, last property of the materials which we will discuss in this chapter is transparency. You may have played the game of hide and seek, but you wouldn't have ever tried to hide behind the glass window. Why? Because anyone can see through that glass window. So the substances or materials through which things can be seen, they are known as transparent materials like glass, water, air, some plastics. We can see through these materials from one side to the another. On the other hand, there are some materials through which we cannot see at all, and these materials are known as opaque. Examples could be like wood, cardboard, metals, etc. Third type of materials are translucent materials, and these are the materials through which objects can be seen but not clearly. For this, you can perform an activity. You have to take a sheet of paper and look through it towards a lighted bulb. You will not be able to see the lighted bulb, but now try it with 2 or 3 drops of any oil and spread that oil on the sheet of paper. Now look through that paper. You will see that you are able to see the bulb partially. So now that paper has converted into translucent paper. Another example of a translucent object is when at a dark place you can pass the torchlight through your palm, as is seen in the figure 4.9, and you will see that your palm is glowing. It is because when a strong beam of light or concentrated beam of light is passed through our body, it becomes translucent. Otherwise we are opaque. So in this chapter we have talked about the different properties of materials, but we haven't answered one question till now, that why we need to group all the materials. Actually, it is done for our convenience, so that we can get all the one type of things in a one place. At home we usually store things in such a manner that similar objects are placed together, and it will help us to locate them easily. Second main reason is that dividing materials into groups make it convenient to study their properties and also observe any patterns in these properties. It means from that group we can study the properties of any one object and it will apply to all the objects in that group. So it will make our study easier. So this is all for this chapter. Keep learning. Thank you.